Interview waivers have been eliminated. Third country renewals are now heavily restricted, and there are 2 mandatory questions at every E3 visa interview. These are just a few of the changes that have happened this year to E3 visas. I'm going to go through them all and what they mean for you in this video. I'm Mahalo, CEO and co-founder of Migrate Mate. We're a New York-based immigration company helping Australians get their E3 visas for $499. Every single person we've done an E3 visa application for has been approved. I'm currently on my 3rd E3 visa, so I've lived through these changes firsthand. Before we get into it, if you're new to an E3 visa, check out our E3 visa guide. It tells you everything that you need to know about this visa, and then come back to this video. Before we get into what changes have happened, let's talk about what hasn't. Firstly, you can still do your E3 visa without needing a lottery. The annual cap is 10,500 new visas a year, and that cap has still never been reached. You can still renew your E3 visa in 2-year increments, and the actual requirements for getting one are still the same. If you have a spouse or children, they're still eligible to be a dependent on your E3 visa, and your spouse also has work authorization rights in the US on a spousal E3 visa. The fundamentals of an E3 visa haven't changed, but renewing and applying has. These are the 4 changes that have happened in the past year that you need to be aware about. We're going to go through each of these 4 points in this video. For many years, E3 visa holders could renew their visa without needing to attend an in-person interview. As of October 1st, 2025, this has changed, and now all E3 applications, including renewals, even if you're with the same employer doing the same job, require an in-person interview. This is required for all visas going through consular processing in order to get your new visa stamp. If you're in the US and your visa renewal is coming up, you're going to need to fly back to Australia and do your interview at one of the 3 consulates in Sydney, Melbourne, or Perth. The only exception is if you're a citizen or a resident of another country. Let's say you're a citizen of the UK, you can go and do your visa appointment in London. Doing your interview in a country outside of Australia is known as a third country renewal. Before September 6, 2025, a lot of Australians would go and do their visa renewals in countries that are closer to the US, like the UK, Canada, Mexico, Barbados, etc. Unfortunately, since September 6, 2025, the State Department has issued guidance requiring all non-immigrant visa interviews, including E3 visa interviews, to be done in applicants' country of residence or nationality. If you're a legal resident or citizen of another country, you may be able to do your interview there. If you're on a tourist visa, this is where you're at the highest risk of being turned away or denied your visa at your interview, because the consular officer will ask, why are you here to do your E3 visa interview? And you really need to have a good reason for it. The only acceptable reason that the State Department has given guidance on is being a resident or citizen of that country. The safest option is to fly back to Australia. It might be a long trip, but if you're an Australian citizen, this is the only country where you're guaranteed to be accepted to do an E3 visa interview. The cost of actually doing an E3 visa interview is $315 US, and you can check out appointment wait times on Migrate Mate. The link is in our description. If you are genuinely in a position where you cannot travel, your employer can file an I-129 form with the USCIS, which extends your E3 visa status from inside the US. If approved, you get a new I-94, which is the record that governs how long you can legally stay and work, but it does not issue a new visa stamp. That means that if you want to travel internationally and return to the US, you will not be able to do that until you get a new visa stamp. The only way to get a visa stamp is through consular processing, which means that you're either going to have to return to Australia or your country of residence or nationality. Remember, doing third country renewals as a non-resident or non-citizen pertains the highest risk. The $315 interview fee is non-refundable. So if you get stuck in a country where they're telling you that you're not allowed to do your E3 visa here, you're going to have to bite the bullet, travel back to Australia, and repay the whole price of the interview again. As of April 30th, 2026, every non-immigrant visa applicant, which includes all E3 visa applicants, will be asked these 2 mandatory questions at their consular interviews. Firstly, have you experienced harm in your home country? And secondly, do you fear returning to your home country? Answering yes, staying silent, or hesitating may result in a denial. Be prepared and be ready to answer these questions. Starting in early 2026, a wave of E-3 visa revocations hit Australians already living and working in the US. What makes this wave different from anything seen before is what's triggering it. Old offences that had already been disclosed in visa applications and interviews and accepted by consular officers. We're talking about DUIs, alcohol-related charges, and controlled substance offences, some dating as far back as 2004. Not recent arrests, not undisclosed records. Offences that applicants had openly declared, provided documentation for, and had been accepted by consular officers, in some cases, at 2 or 3 consecutive renewal interviews. The State Department announced in January 2026 that it had revoked visas from foreign nationals with criminal histories at a rate that was far higher than prior years. And here's something important to understand. The threshold is much lower than what most people think. Under US federal immigration law, the State Department may revoke a visa even without a conviction. That means if you've had an arrest and your arrest was overturned, dismissed, or expunged, could be grounds for revocation. Some people found out about their revocation through email. Some people found out when they were returning from an international trip and trying to re-enter the States at the border that their visa had been revoked. And some people have received no notification at all. There is no online portal where you can check your visa revocation status. If you haven't received a notification, it doesn't mean that you're in the clear. It may just mean that you haven't been processed yet. So what happens to spouses and dependents like children? Well, they may be caught up in the revocation itself, even if they have completely clean records. If your visa is revoked, your first course of action should be to reach out to your immigration attorney. They will tell you what your next best steps are. Just so you're aware, if you're already in the United States and you have a valid I-94 that has an admission date into the future, you may remain in the US up until that admission date, because that is what governs how long you can stay and work in the US. If you leave the US and you try re-enter after your visa is revoked, you will be barred from re-entry. If you are currently outside the US, you cannot re-enter the country on a revoked visa. You're going to need to restart your E-3 visa process or get on a new visa in order to re-enter. While the fundamentals of an E-3 visa have remained largely the same, there have been major changes over the past year, and there likely will be more changes into the future. If you'd like to stay updated or book a free consultation with me and my team at Migrate Mate to talk about your E-3 visa application or renewal, please check the description below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.